So then, of course, there are measures of reward or reinforcement, and you can talk about like a couple of techniques that give you information about whether an animal really wants to engage with a drug, is driven to engage or motivated to. And these include techniques like behavioral techniques like drug self-administration. So, for example, you can have a Skinner box, classic Skinner box with like two levers. One that, when you press it, it delivers drug. It gives you cocaine or it gives you nicotine. You can do the delivery, of course, via a cannula that is implanted using stereotactic surgery to get the precise location where you want the drug to be delivered, say into the nucleus accumbens, for example. And then you can, if the animal presses that bar, the drug will be delivered. If it presses the other bar, the other lever, nothing gets delivered. So it's an idea. It's actually, that's the two bars are actually done partly to control for locomotor activity changes, since many drugs like cocaine are going to be psychostimulants, and so they'll move around a lot more. They don't want it just to be an issue of the animals just hitting bars and hitting levers all over the place because it's bouncing around. So you can see with many drugs that have potential for use disorders, animals and people will reliably self-administer that drug to them. Another kind of measure reward, interesting kind of behavioral task is something called the intracranial self-stimulation paradigm, where instead of implanting, for example, like a cannula to deliver a specific drug, into the brain, or in the case of humans, maybe like something into the vein or something like that for IV injection. What they'll do is implant an electrode, descend an electrode into specific, components of these networks in the brain that underlie motivated behaviors and rewards. So, for example, part of that medial forebrain bundle, going from the neurotransmitter specific nuclei in the brainstem, forward, into limbic structures and paralimbic structures and frontal lobe structures, et cetera, including like VTA and substantia nigra, dopaminergic projections, into nucleus accumbens and hypothalamus and components of the basal ganglia, et cetera. So these are two very commonly used paradigms for measuring and testing and exploring sort of behavioral measures of motivation and reward.